Bear Creek Arsenal, BCA. They're known for a lot of things, one of which is having very inexpensive uppers. They also produce some firearms and calibers that are very difficult to get a hold of and would be otherwise too expensive for the average consumer to justify. So, what's wrong with them? Well, other than the fact that they've been busted for hiring illegal immigrants as their labor, having very, very poor QC and quality assurance, and generally producing firearms at a price that makes you think, man, if PSA can't get it that low, how are they doing it? Well, I wanted to get my hands on some. I've spoken very negatively about them in the past, so I purchased not one, but two identical 7.62 by 39 7.5 inch AR pistol uppers. These cost maybe $220 a piece. I purchased one in my name, and I purchased one in my friend's name, had him purchase it, paid him back, so that they potentially wouldn't be able to recognize that it's me, because I have spoken very negatively about them in the past, because I don't think very highly of this company, but I'm going to give them a fair shake. I'm going to shoot a ton of ammo through these guns, see how they hold up, and give you my honest opinions on them at the end. Now, one of the reasons that I spoke so negatively about them is because one of my subscribers actually told me how he was in a situation where he actually needed his gun to defend himself, and the gun did not work. Thankfully, everything resolved itself, but he couldn't even get the round to chamber into the gun when he needed it in a potentially risky situation. So I'm going to shoot a bunch through these guns. They are labeled. I've documented a lot of things already that I had issues before even getting them out to the range. I'm going to be keeping notes, so after the range shooting portion, I'll give you my final thoughts and talk about all the issues, or lack thereof, maybe. There's already been issues, but we'll talk about what I think about these uppers and as the company as a whole. So let's just get into it. First shots through this one. Now, I'm using the magazines that they did recommend. I have steel case ammo loaded in here, but I also have brass case ammo as well. And we're just going to burn through as many rounds as we can before, I don't know, I get bored, I guess. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit overgassed. Okay. That one was a solid primer strike. Probably shouldn't point that at my face. When you get a hang fire, I don't think that was a hang fire, that might have just been too light of a strike, but these do have the enhanced firing pins that they send with it. They do say that they have the enhanced extractor and enhanced firing pin on these new generation uppers, so we'll see if it lasts. Okay, another. That one doesn't even have a primer strike on it, which that's concerning. Okay, no primer strike on that second round either. No primer strike on that one. This one has the tiniest little primer strike. No primer strike on that. Can't see that one because it fell into the abyss. Yep, okay. So it's very possible that we've already broken a firing pin on less than 70 rounds on the first upper. So we're gonna go ahead and just start shooting the second upper and see how that one goes. So I'm gonna pause the camera, load up these mags. I do surprisingly actually have more magazines in my pockets. I'm not Paul Harrell. I will never be Paul Harrell, but I do have a big jacket with big pockets. Now, the first one, we haven't inspected it yet, but it made it through 60 rounds pretty fine. And then the 7th mag completely failed. So I've got 7 mags in my left pocket, and then 3 over in this other pocket right here. I'm going to try to see how long this magazine lasts me. Now, both of these guns have been lubed up. I did do some basics inspections on them, but they have not been fired. So this is the first time out. Locked back. That's mag 1. Okay, click. Let's see. And that one, light primer strike. Now again, enhanced firing pin, or at least that's what they say. Locked back. Very, very gassy guns, which if you can see this, that is just smoking. Okay, click again. Light primer strike. I mean, it's a pretty solid primer strike. It's just clearly not hard enough. Locked back. That is 30 rounds through this upper. Okay, we got a failure to feed, or failure to extract properly, and a double feed. So I'm gonna have to lock this open, pull that magazine out. Cleared that jam. I'm going to try to, so last 2 rounds on this, I'll try. Now these are the ASC magazines that BCA does recommend, and with a 10-round magazine, you're gonna be running into less reliability issues. I know that a lot of people run into issues sometimes with poor quality magazines, or magazines that the manufacturers don't recommend, or with larger capacity 7.62x39 AR mags because of the geometry of the very curvaceous bullet. You know, they're thick, and with this geometry in the beginning of the mag well having to make that sharp turn, sometimes you run into issues. You run into those issues a lot less with smaller mags. Okay, that just failed to lock back. Okay, we got another of the exact same issues. Okay, double feed again. Let's just see. Okay, just shake that out. Okay, put a new magazine in. Double feed again. Double feed again. Okay. So this upper has not catastrophically failed yet, but it's not exactly confidence inspiring that I'm getting so many double feeds. Double feed. Double feed. Oh, this one's real bad too. But otherwise the gun is still firing. Now, these guns are lubed up. They are very lubed up. Double feed. Failure to extract and a double feed again. Oh, that one's real, this one's nasty. These double feeds are getting worse and worse. This one's just stovepiped out the side completely. Now it's not even feeding. Even just pulling it back is now causing feed issues. We're getting to a point where I don't know how much more of this I'm gonna do. I got, I think, 3 more mags. This is a bad one. So far, not the most confidence-inspiring performance by BCA. With how highly you all spoke of these guns and this manufacturer, I thought surely if I got 2 uppers, one of them would work. So before we actually try to inspect them, this one is the one that was causing all the double feeds, but was firing otherwise. Got a case of Bellum 7.62 by 39, 123 grain FMJs. These are brass case ammo. They have some sort of green lacquer on the primer. Maybe these primers will not be as hard. Maybe these cases will extract more smoothly. Let's see. Nope, we got 2 in the stink. So let's just, let's take these apart and take a look at them. So I'm gonna be reading some stuff off my phone because I did have some observations of these before I actually got them out to the range. I had some issues with them. Now this one is the one that I purchased in my name. This is the one that out on the range. We saw that we were getting both light primer strikes, and then eventually the gun just simply would not fire anymore. So this round has a bit of a light primer strike. This one has no strike on it, but this was one of the rounds that did not fire. Now, exactly what I expected to happen did happen. If we push this bolt down, we can see here that there is no protrusion of that firing pin. So in 60 rounds-ish, the firing pin has completely busted off at the tip there. The extractor from the beginning was very shiny on both of these guns. Not sure why, maybe they just polish it or something, but you can see even just in the photo or in this image here, the top of that extractor is very shiny, and it's gotten shinier after shooting it. This extractor seems to be working just fine so far, but we did it off a firing pin break. If you're in a free state, 60 rounds, that's 2 mags. So in 2 mags, but it took me 6 mags, got through those pretty fine, I think. But then on the 7th mag, the gun was done. The gun was KIA. Basically, big problem with 7.62 by 39 uppers in general is the extractor. The firing pins on these are also notoriously weak, but these are, again, the models with the enhanced extractor and enhanced strength firing pin. So it's not supposed to happen. They specifically made a product so that that wouldn't happen, and it happened almost immediately. Now, on this same upper, this is one that you might have seen me post some stuff on Twitter and whatnot, so if you want to keep up to date on stuff before videos come out, Twitter is a great place, Instagram's fine, but can't really post a whole lot there. This one, the gas block screws from the factory were barely finger tight, so I fixed that. It seemed canted, but I left it. You know, sometimes it just is what it is, and it has cycled fine when it was firing, so we tightened down the gas block screws because they were not tight, but 3 out of the 8 of these handguard screws were just completely loose. Like, there was no Loctite on any of them, and they were just super loose, so I Loctited all these handguard screws. The feed ramps, I'm gonna try to show a photo of this, but the feed ramps on the inside, you're probably not going to be able to see this very well, but the feed ramps were very rough. They were so rough, and now they seem to have worn just a little bit, but they're still sharp, and they have a burr on every single extension of this lug for the most part from the barrel extension. When I was initially dry cycling this gun, I had issues where, yeah, I'm sticking my finger in the bunghole, but I had issues where just dry cycling it, I was having to pull this back so incredibly hard. And now, if you don't know much about me, I'm not weak. Apparently, a 450-pound deadlift and a 315-pound barbell row is simply not enough for you to actually be able to pull back on the right side charging handle. So don't know what's up with that, but eventually in dry cycling that resolved itself. And those were the issues that I noticed so far. In addition, since this is a side charger, in the rear here, there's this little plug that closes up the back of the upper receiver. And now this has an O-ring on it. The O-ring itself is now no longer an O. That has kind of worn itself out just a little bit there. And that happened on both uppers. So this upper, pretty much KIA. I already ordered a second firing pin. I might try putting this bolt from the other upper into that and see if it still works. This is the upper that was purchased by my friend. Now this one, the initial just sort of look it over before I fired it, it looked a lot better. I think I said that the rough feed ramp was basically the same. It's still pretty rough. It's pretty jagged in there, but this one did not have a problem with it, and this one looked worse. Overall, this gun looked a lot worse. That upper looked a lot worse than the one that my friend purchased. Now, it also had some sort of gunk in the chamber, which currently I don't really see anymore. So it might have just been some weird lube or oil or something that was inside the chamber. That's no longer there. But otherwise, from the factory, this upper, I had a lot more hope and promise in this one. Same thing with the O-ring on that little extension piece, or this little gap filling piece on the back of the upper. Not sure what is going on with this thing. The extractor seems fine. It's got significantly less wear on it. The firing pin does protrude the way that it should, but for whatever reason, this upper is not cycling. So what I'm going to try to do is to keep this review going, because I did drive an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and I don't want to go home yet after firing about 200 rounds. I'm going to put the bolt carrier group from my friend's upper into the upper that I purchased and see if I can get this thing back and running, because this upper is basically, this is KIA. This upper is not working. Last thing I'm going to say before we get back out on the range is that the bolts on all of these have a lot of chatter and like circular marks, which honestly, I'm not too worried about the look of the non-moving part, the non-bearing surfaces. The uppers, just they're low quality, or they're budget. So I'm not really concerned about the fit and finish. As long as the gun runs, that's what I'm looking for. And unfortunately, these guns might not run very well. Okay, I got 3 mags loaded up of brass Bellum 123 grain. Let's see if it fires. Well, I'm going to do my best to get through these mags, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts on BCA. Maybe we'll do a follow-up review if they can fix these guns. Okay, there's something. That's something. This is just... high quality products from a high quality manufacturer. I'm almost done with wasting ammunition, so let's just, I'm done. I'm done. This is, I'm gonna give you my thoughts. All right, so let's talk about Bear Creek Arsenal as a company, as a product manufacturer, and specifically about these 2 products here that I did purchase with my own money. I have a lot of 7.62x39 laying around. People spoke very highly of these products, and I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to come out here today and just have a hell of a time. I wanted to shoot 2 uppers that seem to be very popular on YouTube Shorts. I wanted to shoot the 7.5-inch 7.62x39 ARPs, as a lot of people like to call them. I wanted to have fun today. Unfortunately, today has not been fun. I drove an hour and a half out here. I'm going to drive an hour and a half back, and I'm a little frustrated. Now, ultimately, these uppers from Bear Creek Arsenal, 7.62x39 is not the easiest round to make an AR in, because the extractors tend to break, because what you're doing is you're retrofitting a bolt to fit a much wider case length, which requires you to open up the bolt face, making the extractors very thin and the bolts very thin on the inside. Which sucks, because this would be, in normal times, a very cheap round. Right now, 7.62x39 ain't that cheap, but it's cheaper than 5.56 for the most part. Brass case, you know, I don't really know too much about the price of these. I get a lot of my ammo through Last Shot AZ, who is the ammo sponsor of this channel. But these uppers are very difficult to make. Bear Creek Arsenal proudly states on their website that they are the best manufacturer of firearms and AR uppers. If you just type in Bear Creek Arsenal, the Google ads that come up is best AR-15 uppers. And from my personal experience, that has not been the case. From the experience that's been shared with me anytime I talk about BCA, it seems like many people see the price, they're attracted to it, they'll buy a couple, and it's basically, you're flipping a coin. It seems 50-50, maybe, to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe it's 60-30. Maybe you have a 30% chance of having a lemon. Now, I purchased 2. Now, that is only a sample size of 2, and both of them broke in different ways, it seems. The bolt carrier group on one of them is causing issues in both uppers. The firing pin broke. The enhanced firing pin, again, enhanced firing pin, enhanced extractors that they are proudly saying is the way to go for these uppers. Their products are cheap, which is why a lot of people purchase them. And unfortunately, it seems they do not have a very good QA/QC process. In addition to getting busted in the past by ICE for hiring illegal immigrants, now on their website they say made in America, USA made. And typically, what I think of when I think of made in America or made in the USA, for certain types of products, I think, oh, okay, made in America by Americans, supporting American business, supporting American people that work there. Whether or not they still employ illegal immigrants, I don't know. And that's a topic I'm not really going to delve in too much further than that. But these products are very attractive because they come in at a price that is difficult to find anywhere else. They have calibers that are difficult to find anywhere else for even 5 times the price. They have 350 Legend, I believe, 458 SOCOM, 50 Beowulf. They have some 300 Win Mag, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on all those calibers, but they have oddball calibers that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it seems attractive. But the problem is, it does not seem like they are able to consistently and reliably make a well-made firearm. It seems like a huge majority of the people that had good experiences said things along the lines of, when you purchase one, you have to go through and basically assemble it all yourself because you can't trust that they're going to assemble it properly. And to me, that is not something that I saw on their website. I didn't see that. If they said on their website, hey, we make a budget product, give it a once over, you're probably going to need to use our fantastic customer service, because I've heard good things about their customer service. I've heard a few bad things, but you hear a few bad things with the customer service of any company. However, a lot of people speak very highly of the customer service of Bear Creek Arsenal. But currently, as it stands right now, I don't know really why people are buying these when it is so well documented that they do have a high propensity for making a low quality, non-functioning product. I would personally say that a upper that breaks within 60 rounds is a non-functioning product from the get-go, and you got lucky. That could have happened on the first round. If it happened in 60 rounds, it's likely it's going to happen on the first. And the second upper, I was having double feeds very, very quickly. And then putting that bolt into the other upper caused double feeds in a gun that was otherwise not getting double feeds, but just had a part break. Bear Creek Arsenal, 2 thumbs down. I don't think that they're making a good product reliably. Now, a lot of people, because they do sell a ton of these things, at the price that they're making these, I imagine that they are making a killing on volume. A lot of people said very good things, and I wanted to be one of those people that had a good experience. I wanted to get this gun, these uppers, and just say, damn, I had a great experience with it. Keep in mind the quality control and the reputation on the internet ain't that great. That's what I wanted this review to be. I wanted to be dead wrong, but unfortunately I was completely right. Which sucks. It really sucks. I'm going to drive 3 hours today, spend a ton of money on gas, use ammo that I paid for myself on uppers and lowers and parts and mags that I paid for myself. And ultimately what I had was a bad day on the range. And, you know, bad day on the range, better than a good day at work. And I do work a full-time job. I do not make much money off this. I do make money, but after taxes, after expenses, this is really just a hobby for me that I get to do really cool things, like be a part of lawsuits. And unfortunately, I had a bad experience with these uppers. If you've had a good experience, I'd love to hear it. If you've had any experience at all, I'd love to hear it. Because I think with Bear Creek Arsenal, I think we need to get the word out that, yes, some people have uppers that are 1 MOA. It's perfectly reliable. 10 gorillion rounds, no issues. But a lot of people are more mixed. A lot of people said things like, I purchased 4 and one of them doesn't work. One of them does work after sending it back to the factory. The other 2 are great. And that's awesome, because that guy got 4 uppers, probably for less than $1,000, maybe $1,500 total for 4 uppers. And he got 2 that were great and 2 that needed to be sent back and are questionable, but maybe now work. That sounds great. for the price, for the price that you paid, that seems great. But a lot of people had bad experiences. One of my subscribers actually almost needed to use a gun and almost needed to fire a gun in a self-defense situation, but luckily for him, that situation dissipated before any rounds needed to be fired, and he noticed after the fact that the round had gone almost into battery, but not quite, and locked up, and when the situation was over and he tried to remove that round, it would not come out. And then he tried loading in different rounds, and the upper was just non-functional at that point. So personally, would I recommend Bear Creek Arsenal for a defensive gun? Absolutely not. Would I recommend Bear Creek Arsenal for a range gun? Probably not, unless you want to potentially deal with big issues like I did. The 5.56 and 2.23 might be a little bit better, but again, I heard and saw the same lack of consistency of experience from my subscribers and from people on the internet. So Bear Creek Arsenal, 2 thumbs down. Do not recommend them personally. If you want to buy them, that's on you. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm not saying that if you like yours and yours works great, that you're a bad person. Not saying that at all. I had a bad experience. The experiences that I had seemed to mimic what other people have on a somewhat reliable basis, and because of that, I do not like these products, do not like the company, and would not recommend them. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.